What's up, guys? I'm back, and today on the workbench we have something a little bit different today. I have a feeling I've been saying that a lot in my videos. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. We're gonna be doing just a little while ago. Recently, I did a drive recap on a GameCube, and I got to thinking, you know what? The GameCube is one of those consoles that I actually kind of missed. It was just kind of right in between that generation of shenanigans, so I never really did get much of a go at this thing, and I kind of been looking at some of the modifications that there's available, and I decided that one of the main ones that I want to do to this is a DAL 101, so this is the newer console, and it's only got the AV out, which is kind of crappy, but so it's not going to matter because the first modification that I'm going to do to this thing, and just so you can see, this thing is in very, very good shape. I really lucked out with this one. You know, there's a couple little things here and there, but nothing too earth-shattering. I have tested it. It works perfectly. It plays games. It even came with a game, which is not in there right now. I put in Mario Sunshine. So, anyway, we're gonna basically start with this HDMI conversion piece that you can do on the DAL 101s and the DAL 001. Get into the package, holy smokes. So the parts that we've got in here are this cheesy little adapter, which I will not be using. That's a great way to break a mini HDMI. The board that basically will put an HDMI mini out on the back of the console. I'll have to figure out how to get that mounted. Probably be somewhere in that vicinity. I think it's going to go on this side, I can't remember. And then there's a couple pieces of wire that they give you here. But the main piece is this flex. So the flex, can't really see it right now, but it has a couple points on it. Here, let's see if I can get the camera. Come on, camera. Come on in here. Let's get a little closer. So the flex has a couple contacts on it here. That's what these wires off to the side are for. And then you have to solder those contacts along a chip. So first order of business is going to be to get this thing out. We need the main board for modification. So I'm just going to get the flex installed first, and the wires that we need, and then we'll kind of go from there. But first things first, we need to get this thing taken apart. So let's get started on that. We're going to need our big game bit driver to remove the 4 screws on the bottom. Okay, so there's the 4 that hold it together. Yeah, one of the things I recommend is to lift this off the lid up, and when you reinstall it with the lid up. The reason being is if you don't, you can wreck these little cover open screw sensors right here, and you definitely don't want to do that. So just something as a bit of a tidbit. So I've had this thing apart before to do a drive mod, so I kind of am familiar with what it takes. Basically, we'll just start with the front and back cover. I'll get those out of the way. Looks like we got a bit of something there. Okay, and that reveals kind of all the screws. The power board here is just simply one connector. Pull that off of there. Okay. And remove all the screws along the sides here. So there's basically screws all along each side of this. We'll start with this one. Got all of those out. Oh, that's what it looks like with all screws removed. Okay, so then you're just going to grab the body, you're just going to gently give it a wiggle jiggle, and off it comes. So the drive assembly we can stuck off to the side, we don't need to worry about that right now. I think we're going to have to let the heatsink go here to get the main board out of the chassis there, so. Okay. Okay guys, so I got everything set up on the chip here. I was actually wrong, it's on the back side of the board, but so basically I've got the flex cable all set up on this chip where it needs to get soldered. Just basically used a little piece of Kapton tape just to hold it until I can get it tacked there. So pins first just to get them knocked in there. Perfect. Oops. There we go. Those two outers are done. Cool. Let me get the rest of these pins. Great. Right out of flux. There we go. Yes. 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 And come on. Of course. Yes. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. Perfect. First step done. Let's clean up. Yep, I'll take that any day of the week. Looks good. Awesome. Okay, so our 5 volts, which is going to be this guy right here, is grabbed off of this guy here. This is 5 volts, so I need to solder a line there, so we'll do that next. Perfect. 5-volt line on. So, right. And boom, like that. Okay, so we're just gonna put a couple dabs of mask on here just to hold everything. Good. Wire should be secure back to this point, which is perfect. Still want to leave this a little bit flexible. Good. Good. Perfect. It's looking pretty darn good so far. We got those guys. We got one more that we got to attach here. So where does this one go? There we go. There we go. Okay, and that's what we've ended up with. Of course, you don't have to go this insane as I did. This is my personal, so I am taking extra time to make it super, super clean. Pretty happy with how that's come out so far. Got all the pins that I need, and everything's wired. So next thing I got to do is just tape this down, just with some capped on tape there, just to keep it in place. And yeah, that's basically it. I've got another piece of Kapton that I put underneath it, just you can see it there. Just something for this to be on top of. Alrighty, so that is the back side. Now we're gonna flip to the front here. And that port is going to sit right in here. Okay, so what I've done is obviously the soldering on the back, as you guys saw. Everything's all done back there, so I guess at this point I can kind of put it back. That's kind of shitty how that sits. I don't like that. So, like, if you look at the way the board goes, the board's supposed to fit in that little groove. It's got the little crosshairs there. So it's supposed to fit here like that, but then it kind of all sits all really cockeyed. I don't really like the way that sits at all. Yeah, okay, they're talking about putting a spacer in there. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense because that doesn't make sense to mount it like that. That's how it's supposed to fit in there. Now, I need to make some sort of a spacer. As you can see right here, there's a big gap. And we don't want that there because, I mean, you're going to be putting pressure on this, right? So, I'm going to have to come up with a way to do that. Stand by. I'm going to go look for some stuff and I'll be back. Okay, guys, so I've got this mounted up. Sorry, I forgot to record this part, but basically I had to build a bit of a plastic stack here just to get this sort of level. This is the mini HDMI out. And I put a little tiny bit of double-sided tape on that back cap just to insulate it off of the cap. But that's basically what I've come up with so far. So that is mounted. It is plugged in. Technically, this thing should work. So really the only thing we have left now is to modify this back half here so it doesn't squish everything. And obviously I've taken up that screw there. So I think what I'm going to do before I get too carried away, I'm actually going to put the heatsink screws back in because I don't really need them out anymore at this point. And I'm going to probably take the drive assembly apart so I can cut this the way I want it. Oh, I'm going to cut it and then I'll show you guys the way I've cut it. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that with the drive there because I can get a better cut if I use an actual cutting disc. So let's put the heatsink back on there. Get that guy out of the way. So the drive assembly here, they're saying to take this whole piece, cut it square, flush off, and just basically make this whole area open. So, okay, so right, can we end up with that? Okay, so seems good. Relatively rounded, so there. So yeah, basically that's the only little piece you have to cut off is right there. I'm gonna put that away. We are done with the Dremel. That'll be all the cutting we're doing today. So like on a scale of 1 to 10, like I would say this is like a solid 8. 8 or 9. If you don't have all the right stuff, it's going to be real difficult for you to do this. You definitely need to make sure you've got things to make your life easy, or you are going to be upset about how it goes. Okay, so that's done. We can mount the drive back into here. We can put it all back together. With all the screws. I'm going to start with the front here. Normally, we would sit like this. Oh, that still closes, hey? Okay. Alrighty. So I want to drill a hole roughly right there. And then see kind of where that lines up. I mean, you could just drill a huge ass hole in there and go all crazy like, but I kind of want it to look better than that. So here we are. There's our new HDMI hole. And everything's screwed together. So basically, I just need to put the front piece back on. There she goes. Good. Okay. And we are ready for the top. As I said, be careful with these guys. The easiest way to not have a problem, open the lid before you drop it down. Just like that. Once it's on, you can close it. Oh, there it is. Okay, now, obviously it's not running in full resolution yet, but it is running through the capture card, and that is HDMI out. There we go. Yeah, let's get some sunshine going on here. The colors are awesome. There is no blurriness really, outside of obviously the limitations of the console itself, but like compared to what it looks like in composite, this is like night and day. It looks way better. Okay, guys, well, as you can see, it's working. It's playing. Gonna do some little obviously tweaks with the card itself. I'm not sure if I'm running at optimal resolution or whatever, but as you can see, it is giving us a 1080 output feed, which is HDMI now, so no more composite. This is a true digital feed out, and honestly, this kit is fairly cheap when you consider what the other ones cost to put in. Yes, there are other options where you can just basically pop in a memory card and it'll convert it to HDMI. The digital port also on the 001s you can also utilize with a direct plug-in. But if you don't, if you want to have like a permanent installation and not have a bunch of things sticking out of the GameCube that look foreign, you can basically just put one of these things in and you have HDMI out. Like, how much better does that get? It's freaking awesome, right? Like, come on, look at that, freaking Mario Sunshine in HD. Okay, so that's the first mod. I will bring you guys up to speed when I get into the modding of the Pico boot, into the Dull 101 system. But for today, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.